In this video, I'm going to show you how I do a soft glam makeup for a special occasion using the Natasha Denona Glam palette. Hello and welcome, or welcome back. So I'm going to base this look around the Natasha Denona Glam palette, which I must admit I haven't used very much at all since I bought it. In fact, when I bought it, I was going to be buying another Natasha Denona palette, which I didn't get. I've forgotten which one it was. I think it was the one with all the pinks in it that came out sort of towards the end of last year. And I couldn't get hold of that, so I thought, well, I'll get this instead. I think it was a neutral palette. I've forgotten the name of it. Anyway, I couldn't get that at Selfridges, so I thought, well, I'll get a Natasha Denona palette. I've never had one. And I bought the Glam palette, and I will link up down below in the description box a video I did when I first used it. But honestly, if the truth be told, I've hardly touched it since. So I thought this was a great opportunity, since I've just dyed my hair, to see whether the Glam palette will work for me and whether I'll get more use out of it now. I think because it was quite neutral and I wasn't really sure what to do with the colours quite, I didn't use it as much as I should. Anyway, I'm going to use it today, so that's what we're going to do. But before we get into eyes, let's start with our complexion. So I'll pin back my hair. It's an absolutely beautiful sunny day and the perfect day for a garden party. Now, I do want this makeup to last as long as it can, and that's the reason why I'm going to be using a primer, which is not something I do very often, but I am going to use a primer today, and I'm going to use the Smashbox Photo Finish Primerizer, which I haven't used for quite some time. I think I bought this when I went to a wedding last year. And I've watched quite a few videos lately where makeup artists are saying using a primer is a really good way to make your makeup last. So that's what we're going to do. So I'll just apply a bit on the back of my hand. And just to let you know that also, apart from applying my skincare, I've added some extra moisturizer around my eyes and my nose. And I've done that because I want my concealer to last as best it can. And again, watching some videos recently, it's been suggested that that is a good way to make your concealer last and not crease. It does feel very nice, this primer. It's not too sticky, a little bit tacky, but I think that will wear off. And anyway, I think the point of that is it's meant to help your foundation stay put. I'm not going to use a primer on my lids, by the way. I'm just going to use my concealer. Now let's go in with the foundation, and I'm going to use my absolute holy grail foundation, which is the Hourglass Ambient Soft Glow Foundation. I bought this a couple of years ago, not this bottle. I just did this in my empties actually. I'll link that video down below if you haven't seen it. And I absolutely love this foundation. It's the only one that's ever got me compliments about my skin, so it must be doing something right. So I'm in the shade 7.5, and when I bought this, I'll just put one pump for now, maybe one and a bit. When I bought this, in fact, before I bought the whole bottle, I went into Space NK and I was given a couple of samples because I asked the sales assistant to match me, and she said, well, you could be, I think she said an 8 or a 7.5, and I thought, well, the 7.5 was more for me, so that's what I went with. Now I'm going to apply this with my BK Beauty foundation brush, which I find is the best way to apply this. Now I hope I haven't overdone this. I may have put a bit too much on, but we'll see how we go. It is such a good foundation. It really is. I would say it's medium to full coverage, and it's nice skin-like. I would say it hasn't got much of a glow, but it's not matte either. Maybe more of a satin, I don't know. I do find it quite hard to tell. But hopefully you can be the judge of what you think it looks like on my skin. Yeah, I would say that's a satin finish if I'm going to give it anything. It's definitely not matte. I think it really does look very skin-like on my particular skin. I'll just get my damp beauty sponge. Now you may have noticed I haven't put anything around my nose because that's where it tends to collect. But now I'm going to blend, or rather I'm going to tap around my nose, and having picked up a bit of the product on my sponge, we'll just blend that in. And I think that helps to not let it collect around my nose. Sorry, that's terrible grammar, but you know what I mean. Because I don't know about you, but I always get little bits of either dry skin or bits of gunk, as it were, around there. And we don't want that, do we? Definitely don't want any gunk today. Yes, I think that's given really nice coverage. It's even my skin tone, but it hasn't completely covered all my blemishes like this one. And I think it looks really natural on my skin. Now we're going to go in with concealer next, and I'm going to be using the Fenty Beauty We're Even concealer, and I have it in the shade 22N. Now it can be quite tricky to choose the shades. I did actually go lighter first, but I've decided to get a slightly darker shade. I really like the applicator, the doe foot, because it's bent. I'm not sure if I'm showing this well on the screen, but can you see it's got that angle, which means it's much easier to get into the corners, as it were, with this type of doe foot than it would be in just a simple flat one. And what I'm going to do, you might think, oh my goodness, she's putting a huge amount of concealer there, but trust me, it will all come out in the wash, as it were. And we'll also put some on here. The only thing we've got to be careful of, and I'm guilty of this, is not getting concealer on your lashes, because you don't want that. Now we're going to get our trusty damp beauty sponge, and we're going to very carefully and gently pat this. Now the next thing we're going to do is use this fabulous powder. Oh my goodness, I'm in love with this powder. It was recommended by India Knight, who's a journalist on the Sunday Times, and she's so right about this. It's absolutely fantastic. This is it here. Now it is very, very expensive, I will admit that, but I mean all Hourglass products are, aren't they? They are super expensive. This was about £57, I think, but it does come in a lovely case. It comes with its own little puff, actually, the dear little puff there, a lovely mirror, and of course it's a really smart Hourglass case. And I just love the powder. That's the point. I'm not so bothered about the case. It's the powder that's great. And let me show you. I do apply it with my own powder puff. I prefer that. So I'm just going to pick up some powder on my own puff like this. Get quite a decent amount. And then I'll tap a bit off before I apply it, because we don't want to get a huge amount under there, do we? Now, one of the reasons India Knight says she loves it is it doesn't give her under eye creasing. Now, the jury's out on whether that works for me or not, but I will report back. But I think it is a beautiful powder, and it's so finely milled. It just feels great on the skin. And actually, I'm going to powder here because we do want this to be lasting. And my T-zone is getting oilier these days, I find. I don't know why that is. So I think we'll just do that and a little bit up here as well, just in the T-zone. Now let me zoom you in and you can have a look and see my under eyes and around my nose. I'm really pleased about the nose actually, because it's not looking at all cakey. What do we think? Yeah, I'm pleased about that. Right, the next thing we're going to do are brows, and what I'm going to do is try this new technique that I spotted Glam girl Gabby doing the other day in one of her videos. I can't remember which one it was, and if you haven't followed her, I highly recommend watching her. She's so entertaining but also incredibly informative and a real makeup expert. I've learnt so much from her. So what she did recently in a video was she used the ABH brow, I think it's called Brow Wiz, is it? No, Brow Freeze, that's right. So the Brow Freeze, which I bought ages ago and haven't used very much, which is a gel. And what she did was she first applied the brow gel before applying a brow pencil or pen. And she got a little brush, put some product onto the brush like that, and then brushed up her brow hairs. So that's what we're going to do. Trying not to get our actual hair in with the Brow Freeze, we don't want that. So essentially what we're doing is we're lifting, oh it does feel funny on the skin actually. I'm not massively keen on the feeling, it feels kind of cool. It's a bit like actually having your brows laminated, which I'm having done tomorrow as it happens. But the idea is that you brush these up and then you use the gaps that you've just created. And let me zoom you in again. You use the gaps that you've just created to then fill in with your brow pencil or pen, which is what we're going to do next. And she uses the Maybelline Brow Wiz, which I really love. In fact, I think it was from her that I got the idea, or it might have been Angie Hot and Flashy, I can't remember. The Maybelline Brow Wiz, very reasonably priced product. And it's got a really great thin pen, which I really like and find it easier to use than a pencil. And what I'm going to do is use the gaps in my brows that I've just created to fill in with fine strokes from the pen. Right, now we come to the Glam palette, and here are the beautiful colours. They really are stunning. And what I thought we might do, and given my new hair colour and the fact that I'm going to be wearing a navy blue dress, I don't want to go too goldy. So I think we'll stick to the sort of neutral colours. We won't go too pinky or too goldy, so we'll pick these colours. And I'm really drawn to this colour here, this one, and this one. So I think those are the ones we're going to go for. I think they look absolutely beautiful. So let's start with this one. Oh wow, look at that colour, isn't it fabulous? That is absolutely beautiful, isn't it? In fact, let me zoom you in again. And then I'm just going to take this darker shade and put that on the outer corner. I'm going to do it with my fingers because I find my application is easier with my fingers. And now I'll use the same brush to blend. And then I'm going to take this colour here, which I know is a little bit darker than the one I put on originally. I think I'll put that over the top and see how it looks over the top of the lighter one. Oh yes, I really like that. And then we'll just do a bit of blending. Now the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to get my Victoria Beckham Satin Kajal Liner in Cocoa and line my upper lashes. Now the next thing I'm going to do is apply a primer to my lashes, and I'm going to use the L'Oreal Lash Paradise. I absolutely love this. This was a viewer suggested product and I think she was absolutely right. It helps all mascaras to give some va-va-voom to your lashes and I absolutely love it. I'm about to get my lashes lifted tomorrow along with my brow lamination, and although they're still not too bad, especially the left one, your right hand, my left, eyelashes are still quite lifted. The right ones are always the ones that droop more. I don't know why that is, weirdly. But anyway, I think a lash lift is an absolute boon for me. In fact, it's the thing that saved me from having to spend hours trying to get my lashes to lift with an eyelash curler. It just doesn't work. Even heating up the eyelash curlers and all of that, they just droop after about 2 minutes. They're just hopeless. Whereas the lash lift is permanent for a few weeks and it's the absolute business for me. And for mascara, I'm going to use the YSL Lash Clash, which I absolutely adore. You get a nice big fat brush, which I really like, and you do get the va-va-voom lashes. There we are. Now I'm just going to check my inner corners, as it were, because they always tend to look slightly messy. We always get a lot of gunk sticking in there, don't we? I might put some highlighter in there in a minute, but let's go on to blush first. And I'm going to be using the Westman Atelier blush in Chouchette. This is my new favourite shade. I already had Doudou, and this is Chouchette. And I've been a very naughty girl. And I bought a very expensive brush. Oh, look at this. This is from Westman Atelier. And when I went to buy this, I got sold on this because I said to the sales assistant, what is the best brush for applying cream products? And she said it was this one. So this is what I'm using. And what I really like about it is it's like a paintbrush. Can you see? It's very flat. And so you literally just paint on the product like that. In fact, I may have gone a bit high there, but not to worry. And I've gone overboard with it. And of course we are going to shear it out with a damp beauty sponge in a minute. Now you may be surprised to see that I'm coming down quite far with my blush, and that's because I've seen a couple of videos recently. I think one of them was by Reset and another one was by Wayne Goss, and they were both doing quite full blushes. Now I think the Wayne Goss one was all about the boyfriend blush, whatever the hell that is. Really? Why must a man appropriate a woman's blush? I don't know. But the Risa one was about Bobbi Brown talking about where she put the blush, which was where people actually do blush, where your face flushes. And recently I noticed that my face was flushed. I think it was the heat. I don't blush very often. It wasn't an embarrassment. It was something to do with the heat. And I noticed that actually my flush is down here. It's not just up here. So it made complete sense to me, and I thought, well, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try applying it where my face naturally flushes. Now, of course, we're going to shear this out. Look at that beautiful colour, isn't it? Just stunning. Oh my goodness, I absolutely love it. Gorge. And now we're going to go in with bronzer, and I'm going to use the same brush, and then I'm going to get the Westman Atelier bronzer in Biscuit. Now this is a product I heard about years ago. Anna of the Anna Edit used to use it. I think she probably still does, and this is it here, and it's a great cool shade. I really like it. I spent an absolute fortune at the Westman Atelier counter, as you can imagine. Brush, bronzer and blusher. Don't tell anyone. And now we're going to apply that up here. So we've got a lot going on up here, but that's okay. It's all going to be blended in. So we'll pop that there. We'll pop a tiny bit on my nose, a little bit on the forehead, a little bit around here, just for fun. There we go. And then we will blend. I think that just gives a nice bit of definition and a bit more colour. And now we're going to go in with highlighter. Now this is the Merit. I think it's in Bounce, this one here, which I've used many times before and I really like it. And we're going to put it up here like that. I don't know why I'm pursing my lips, do you? I suppose it's to get my skin to be smooth. You do that. And finally we come to lips, and I'm going to outline my lips with the Lisa Eldridge Sculpt and Shade pencil in 2C. And then I think we'll try this BK Beauty lipstick in Gratitude. I haven't worn this for a while. Might be a little bit pinky, but let's see how it goes. Oh, it's such a beautiful colour, isn't it? Do we think it's a bit too pinky for the eyeshadow? Blow it, I really like it anyway. Do you know what? We might temper the colour slightly by overlining with the pencil, which is more neutral. So let's just do that, see if we can slightly dampen the pink down. And then to finish off, we're going to use one of these two lip oils. I don't know which one. I think we might try the Summer Fridays. This one is the Merit. This is the Summer Fridays Your Lips But Better. It's not called that, actually. It's called, I can't remember. I'll have the details down below for you and on the screen. And we're going to just top the lipstick with lip oil. Lip oils are so popular at the moment, aren't they? And I really like them. I think I prefer them to glosses. And oil is more my cup of tea, really. Let's just hop on. And we'll finish off with some setting spray. I'm going to use the e.l.f. Illuminating Mist and Set, because we want our makeup to last all day, or as long as it can. And now let me get changed and ready for the party. So here we are, garden party ready. What do we think? I really enjoyed using the palette. I probably could have been a bit more adventurous with it, but I think for a first go, after a good few months, I think it looks pretty good. And I think it does complement my hair. I absolutely love the Westman Atelier product, and I really loved using the brush as well. So let me know in the comments what you think. Is this a nice soft glam look? And if you've enjoyed this video, I'd be so grateful if you'd subscribe to my channel and give the video a thumbs up. And if you'd like to hear more from me, I have a monthly newsletter, and in that I don't just talk about beauty, fashion and lifestyle, but also music, books, podcasts, films, theatre, TV and all the other bits and bobs that make our lives worthwhile. And thank you so much for watching. It means the absolute world to me that you take some time out of your day to spend some time with me on my channel. And I hope you're all doing really well, and I look forward to seeing you on my next video. Bye!